It's your favorite girls, and welcome back to another episode of
Let Us Sip.
This is your girl, Brittany.
It's your girl, Kaloni.
Sophy, she around someplace. Here I am. I'm here.
And we have a guest.
Dun, dun, dun.
We got some male energy in the room today. We got Mr. Hollywood Chuck. How are you, sir?
Hi, ladies.
Hey,
How's
what's
it
up,
going?
Chuck?
It's going good. It's going good. You look a little stiff, so we're going to try to relax you. We just want to let you know.
Want to drink some?
Yes.
Have a drink?
Yes. This is
Yes.
Let Us Sip. So,
Let
yes,
us
we do
sip.
sip throughout the show. If this is your first time listening and watching us, every week we pick a word, and throughout the conversation, we say the word.
Mm-hmm.
So since we had the legendary club promoter, Mr. Hollywood Chuck himself, we're going to use the word club. So when you hear us say club, we need y'all niggas to drink.
Drink.
Uh-oh, that's a lot of drinking.
Yes, sir. Well, you can sip.
You had to hit club?
Yeah, see, look, you said it.
A
Let's
club
drink.
promoter?
Yep,
Oh,
twice.
my.
There we go. Woo. So, Chuck, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Personally or business-wise?
You can mix in a little bit. Let's start off with how you got into club promoting.
Well, you know what's crazy? A lot of my friends growing up, they sold drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I was into sports. So we used to have these cut parties. I grew up in Redfern projects, so we used to have these cut parties, these project parties. And
Was that during school? Because you said cut.
Yeah, cut parties.
Okay, I heard
hooky
about
parties.
those,
We used to
like-
call them
Oh,
hooky
hooky
parties.
parties. Okay.
I'm old, so we used to call them hooky parties. Y'all probably don't even know a hooky. What's that?
I didn't know.
Like
We call
cut
that a
parties,
dance?
hooky parties.
Yes.
I started out like that, and then a lot of my friends, they was in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So I put two and two together, and I got with the dope heads and the crackheads, and I said, look, y'all want what my friends have, and I want what y'all have. I want y'all apartment, so I could throw cut parties and regular parties in your apartment.
Right.
Let's trade off. So that's how it all started. I started throwing parties in dope or crackheads' houses, and we would make money. Let's say we charge $1 to get in. We made $100. They would take $50. I'd take $50. They'd get their crack. I'll get my sneakers.
That's fun.
And that's how it all started.
So you mentioned sports. What sports were you into? What activities?
Well, a lot of people don't know this about me, but during the time that I was throwing my events, in the club life, you don't walk up to somebody in the club and be like, hey, what's your first and last name? Where do you at? Where do you live? That's
Creepy.
Yeah, that's
Right.
creepy. You give your street name or your nickname.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people in the club world, they don't know
You said
certain
club
things about
3
me.
times, so you owe me at least one.
Wait. I say it. I'm the only one, or everybody's saying it?
Come along with shit. Drink with you.
Oh man, I gotta watch myself. I can't say the word.
So the people in the scene.
Yeah, so the people in the scene didn't know this about me, but I have 2 college degrees.
Okay.
I went to school on a double scholarship. I played baseball and basketball on a very, very
nice.
high level. But they a lot of people in that scene didn't know that about me. You had to grow up with me, or you had to be in that world with me.
Right.
Because the party world, they didn't know that about me. So I went to school on a double scholarship.
Cool. So, a little quick story here. I had my stint with promoting. It was not a long stint, and I don't think it was the stint for me. But were you passing out the flyers late at night at the clubs? Did you start doing that?
Yeah,
too?
absolutely. I started from the ground. Like I would print my flyers, go to the train station, and wait outside for ladies to come, and I would hand them my flyers. Every time I seen female come out, I would hand them my flyers, try to get up a conversation with them, and try to get them to come out. That's how I started, printing flyers and going in front of train stations and going from housing communities, projects, and handing out flyers.
I used to do the let outs, which was grueling, especially if you didn't go out that night. So we used to have to leave the house at least 1 or 2 because we in Rockaway, so that's a nice little ride on the train.
Right.
And then we will go and wait outside the club for the let outs to give out the.
Well, thank God I didn't have to do the let outs. I was always inside. You
they
know,
put the girl on the let outs. I was the only girl.
I never had to do let outs. I always either paid somebody to do the let out because I always wanted to be inside because I wanted to know everything about everybody. So if I'm inside, I know what you drink. I know what kind of guy you like. I know how you act. I know if you start fights. I know more about you than on the let out. On the let out, I don't know much about you. All I know is you go home drunk.
Right.
But inside, I know more about you. So when I invite you out, I'm like, oh, all right, nah, she like Moet, or nah, she like wine, or she like. So I always went inside.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So before we get, I'm sorry.
Unless it is you stuck under a rock, especially if you're in the New York City area, Hollywood Chuck, you know what I mean? We used to do internet and had the RSVP and 7 days, 7 nights. I used to be looking like Hollywood Chuck, he a part from, all right, this thing gonna be lit. Hollywood Chuck, he gonna make sure the music good, the DJ good, the crowd ain't too ghetto. Hollywood, okay, cool.
But it wasn't always like that. I grew to get like that. At first, when I first started, I was just taking anything because I didn't know any better.
Right.
You know, when I grew, I knew like, listen, these kind of females is not coming to your party unless you have these kind of guys there acting this certain way. So I grew to that. At first, it wasn't like that. I was taking anybody. You know, if you know anything about Rockaway, I used to go to Edgemere and hand out flyers. And that's probably the worst place on earth. Forget about New York on earth. So, I had no clue when I was 14 years old. I had no clue. So, I grew to that. It didn't happen overnight.
Before we go deeper, when we have guests on the show, we typically like to play a game. Okay. So we greased you up a little bit. Now we want to make sure you slide right through.
Let's do it.
All right. So this game is gonna be Would You Rather. Okay. So we're gonna ask you a series of questions, and you tell us would you rather this or that. Okay.
Sure.
So the first question: would you rather find love, or would you rather find the love of your life, or would you rather find $1 million?
The love of my life.
Okay. Would you rather be able to travel everywhere for free? Or would you rather be able to eat everywhere for free?
Oh man, if you know me, I'd rather eat everywhere.
Steak and lobster for free. For let me know.
Yeah, if you know me, that's gonna be a hefty bill.
Yeah. So he was confident about that last one. Let's see if he's confident about this one. Would you rather give up sex for a year or food for a year?
That's a tough one. I'll give up food for a year.
Just like a nigga. So, would you rather be stuck in a small room filled with tarantulas or stuck in a small room filled with snakes?
Tarantulas.
Wow. Interesting.
Wow. That's interesting.
So, this is another one. Would you rather the fake ass or the real ass?
You know what?
This is diplomatic, y'all. Club. Go ahead.
Oh man.
Club.
You know what? I have probably about 56 employees, bartenders that work for me. So, whatever makes you feel important or happy, that's the way you should be.
Okay. That was a very political answer.
Very political answer.
Diplomatic. Club. Let's drink.
Club.
I like it. So, next question. Would you rather lose your sense of feeling during sex or your sense of taste?
That's a tough one too.
And we're just talking about taste in general. Like, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food? I would say seafood. I would say crab legs.
And you can never taste it again.
Never taste it again.
Oh boy. Taste.
Nigga number 2. Yeah. All right. So, would you rather a woman that can give you good fellatio or a woman that can cook real good?
Oh boy, it's a tough one too. I take the fellatio because I can cook.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. So, last question. Would you rather say your ex's name during sex or your partner's best friend's name during sex?
Oh boy, I have to pick one of those. I mean, I would have to say the ex because it could be a mistake.
Okay.
The best friend, you can't do that.
I'll say
Yeah,
club.
you can't come out of that. Yeah, you can't come out of that one.
The best friend, nah. The
Club.
best
I
friend,
gotta sip on that
nah. The best friend, you in a lot of trouble. The ex, it could have been a mistake, you know.
I think either way you gonna be at the doghouse, but
Yeah.
you know, listen.
Right. I'll take 200, Alex. Club. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back into the questions. Do you remember your first party that you ever threw? Your first successful party?
First party or first successful party?
Successful.
Well, you know what? I'm very fortunate that, you know, let's say like in a calendar year, I may have had, since I was 14, 400 parties in a calendar year.
Oh, wow.
And every year for the past 20 some odd years, I've been very fortunate to put myself in a situation where it's always successful. I never overwhelm myself with bills that I have to pay at the end of the night. I always keep it to the point where I know I'm going to make a profit. So thank God they've all been successful.
So
I've always been successful.
That brought up another would you rather real quick, but it falls in line with the questioning. Would you rather take the door or the bar? As far as for the night, for the club, which one would you want?
A lot of people would say the bar because they just feel like people are always going to drink. But that's not the right answer. The right answer is the door. The door, because the door is 100% profit. The bar, you have to pay off liquor costs, employees that pour the liquor, and on and on and on and on. So the right answer is the door.
I like that. I like that. Because like you said, first thing everybody's like, yeah, give me the bar, give me the bar. And you notice that they charge you a whole lot more.
Well,
if
people
you
that
take
say give me the bar, they don't know what they're doing.
You got that. Club. You got that
Oh,
one.
man.
You driving? Are you driving?
Oh, man. I didn't say that word.
I did. So what's your relationship with Big Kap?
Oh, well, DJ Big Kap, his full name is the Supreme Bigger Figure Big Kap. A lot of people don't know that, and they say it wrong, they spell it wrong, but that's his full AKA.
Okay.
His real name is obviously Keith Carter. My relationship with him was, you know, as I was telling you guys earlier, when I first started throwing events in the projects, one of my other friends came up to me and was like, listen, man, this party is dope. I'm going to get one of my industry friends to come out and see this party. Like, they got to see this party. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's just talk. People are just talking. 2 weeks went by. Nobody came. The third week, who walks in the door? DJ Big Kap into a project party. Now, mind you, at the time, he was like the biggest DJ in New York, right underneath Flex. He worked with Flex. He was right underneath Flex. So he was really, really big. So he's like, yo, man, how you get all these people in the projects, bro? Like, this is the projects. How you get all these people in here? I'm like, yo, I just, you know, I go out, talk to people, or hand out flyers, and, you know, I get them to come. He's like, unfortunately for me, what the good thing for me was, Kap happened to like hood girls. He liked girls like wear scarves. He liked, you know, girls that smoke weed and hung out. He liked that. So that to this day helped me, because he went, after he left that party, he called me and he said, listen, come to my house. And I said, all right, cool. I went to his house and he's like, look, man, I'm gonna make you a real promoter. Like, you know, you just throwing these project parties. Like, I'm going to make you a promoter. I'm like, yeah, whatever. He said, yo, come to my house on Sunday and be here at 8 o'clock. So I said, all right, no problem. Got to his house on Sunday. And he's like, yo, take these records to this address. And I'm like, what? Like,
what am I doing?
He's like, yo, the club is called The Tunnel. Take these records in there and tell them you with me. I said, yo, I'm only, you know, I was like 17. I'm like, yo, but I was tall. I was like, yo, I'm not old enough to get in the club. Like, he's like, they're not going to ask you for ID. Just carry these records and you're good. And that's how it all started.
So and I
just, in the tunnel as a teenager.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but I was the promoter for the tunnel.
Get out.
That's further on.
Wow.
We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know this. I started out as just carrying records for Kap. And then one night, Flex had seen me with a chain on. He never met me. See me with this big chain on. with a bunch of guys from Rockaway making a lot of noise.
Right.
And
As
they
we
like,
do.
yo, you know,
That's how we do.
who are those? Who's this? Like, yo, they all with Kap. And that guy right there, he's the one who carries the record, talking about me. So Flex comes and be like, yo, man, I want you to come to my office tomorrow. I want you to come to my office. So I thought I was in trouble. I'm like, oh, fuck, man, I know I should have brought these niggas. like, they messing up for me. Like, they messing up for me. Like,
Far Rockaway shit.
they messed my little connect up. So I get to Flex's office. I'm nervous. I remember being outside the office, and Kid Capri was in there arguing with Flex about something. They was going in, like they was about to fight. So I'm like, damn, like I'm about to go in there after this. This guy's already mad. I'm like, I'm in trouble. So Kid Capri storms out the office, and Flex like, yo, come on, man, come in. So I go in there, he like, yo, man, how old are you, man? I was like, you know, what happened? He's like, are you even old enough to be in the tunnel? I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm gonna be 18 next month. Like, you know, I was just helping Kap. Kap told me, he was like, yo, enough, man. And then his face just changed. He's like, yo, I got a plan for you. I'm like, he's like, nobody's gonna know what I have planned for you, and it's the perfect plan. You're gonna be the one to pay the artist. You're gonna be one to make sure the artists get their bottles, their drink tickets, their food, whatever they need back in the dressing room. You're gonna be in charge of that. And that's how it started.
Wow.
Nice.
Man, I remember
That's
listening to Angie Martinez, and it'd be like maybe Monday night or so, and they talk about all the stuff that happened at the tunnel. I was like, damn, I wish I was old enough. Like, oh man. So
Yeah, I wasn't old enough. So.
but you was there. Like, I was like baby. Like,
I can only go by
Milk
my
my
mother's
tongue.
stories.
You know somebody doing something wrong when you be like, but my birthday in this amount of weeks. Like, you know you in
Right.
the wrong.
I'm such and such in the hat.
I'm like, wait, you know, I'll be 18. I'll be 18.
I'm
Like,
about to be it. You
Stretching that shit.
I was told, so I just got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I had ID. Like, I don't even think, because back then, it
wasn't
wasn't
a
like
must.
it was now. Like, you can't walk around
Right.
without
Right.
ID.
Right.
Back then, it was like, oh, I don't got no ID. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
And they didn't have you scanning the IDs, a whole
it was
bunch
crazy.
of stuff.
I maybe had a high school ID.
Right.
I
And
thought-
that
Like,
picture
I
was
have a
faded
driver's
out.
license
Right.
ID. Like, I
Had
have
to
So
be
get
with a
into
clear
Club
picture.
Envy. I actually brought a laminating kit. Like, it was that serious for me to
Oh,
get
man,
into
Envy, you
Club.
brought
Yeah,
back some memories right there.
I was like, I scanned it. That's what I said. We go
Envy.
back. Yeah, I was like, yo, it's no scanning. It was so bad because first I had put it in the wallet piece, so it had the plastic over it already. So I'm like, it's a flashing like this. Then they like take the ID out.
Oh,
I'm like,
then you
ah.
got scared.
I'm like, let me go over here and get me a
When they
laminated
say
kit.
take the ID out,
It's
you're like,
over.
I'm in trouble right
Brought out
now.
a laminated kit.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
pressing the things up. I've been doing bootleg stuff for a long time. Many years.
And my last question for you. What was your relationship like with Stat?
Well, I'm going to make it really, really fast.
Mhm.
So me and Stack had a special relationship because we grew up in the same projects. But we had a relationship before we had a relationship. And what I mean by that is my dad was on drugs really bad. His mom was on drugs really bad. And they used to do drugs together.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad used to always take me with him, and his mom used to always take him.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to meet up together while our parents went in the back staircase and did drugs together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when our relationship started. When we was forced to have a relationship because his mom and my dad was doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing. In the back staircase or wherever they could
Right,
do it.
right.
So that's when my relationship started with Stack Bundles.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on his journey, and my journey started with doing parties and playing into sports. Stack respected me as an athlete at that time more than me as a promoter. You know, I always used to remember him saying, yo, Chuck and them playing in the front park, we going out to watch them. Like, that was like the main event, like coming to watch us play basketball against other projects or other places. You know, and everybody getting in the park, whether they was drinking or smoking weed, that was like the big thing. So he respected me at first as an athlete because I was one of the best around, at least to him, because I always heard him say, yo, stick to basketball, stay with basketball. So that was the beginning. Fast forward, me and Stack, as far as on a music level, had a love-hate relationship. And let me explain to you. Stack always wanted to bring, like, as far as my parties, he always wanted to bring everybody. He never wanted to leave nobody behind. You know what I mean? Like, he always wanted to, like, bring everybody. Like, it could be like, yo, only 3 of us can go. No, not Stack. He's not saying no to no one. Everybody can come. And if I'm throwing in a party, I don't want 40 people from Rockaway walking up to my party when I got Lil Kim in there partying, or Diddy in there, or Kanye and them in there with some of my white friends. I don't want 40 Red Fern people coming up on Rockaway. It's gonna make me look like bad. Like, you know, even though I'm from there, I only want a few of y'all. I don't want everybody rolling up.
Comment, please.
So that's when me and Stack clashed. When he was like, yo, you from Red Fern, you come on, man. Why all 40 of us can't get in right now? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's not the way this works. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do it that way. So, you know, it was times where we worked things out. There was times where he went home upset at me and we didn't talk. So, you know, that's where our relationship was. But fast forward even more, one day he was on tour, and I think he was on tour with Jim Jones at the time. And he called me. And he's like, yo, you know, forget about our differences. I don't care about all of that. You're like the only person in the hood that's doing something that can help me. And I like to keep everything in the hood. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you saying? He's like, yo, I want you to come on tour with us and get this after party money, because I could get everybody that's on tour to come out to the party for free, and we make the money. I'm like, yo, that's a great idea. He said, that's only the first half. I want you to start taking over my management. So I said, wow, thanks, man. He's like, the first thing you got to do, you got to call Yandy. And I'm like, yo, I don't know Yandy. You know, at the time I didn't. You know, and I'm like, I don't know her. He's like, yo, you got to work it out. Here's her number. I got to go. Because he was on tour.
Right.
I call Yandy. I'm all excited. I call Yandy. I'm like, yo, Yandy, you know, Hollywood Chuck, you know, I grew up with Stack. He want me to take over his management, you know, give me all his information, you know, so we can put the money in his account, whatever we got to do. She's like, no, I don't know you. And that's not going to happen. I manage him and I'll take care. I mean, I manage Jim Jones and I take care of Stack stuff. And I don't know you. And she hung up. Oh. I'm like, oh, man, you know, maybe I did that wrong. You know?
You know, she be about her business.
Yeah, so a couple days go by, Stack called me again. Like, yo, you worked it out with Yandy? I said, yo, man, it didn't go right. I think you got to call her. And he like, yo, man, yo, can you call on three-way? So I called her on three-way. She picked up. And Stack's like, yo, Yandy, you know, this is Chuck. He's from my hood. I trust him. That's going to be the guy. I'm going to try to work things out with him, with some other people that I'm working with. But, like, he's going to do the tour thing. He's going to do certain things for me. And that's when it, you know. Nice. That's. And then the rest, I don't really want to talk about what happened after that.
It's history. It's history.
You know?
Well, I want to talk about the club, so take a shot.
Oh,
drink.
Boy.
Something.
Speaking of club, Chuck, what was your favorite club to promote at?
That's a tough one. It was this club called Club One. Yeah, take a drink.
You said like 4 times too.
And this space, it helped me cross over and understand that it's bigger than just having people come out to your event. I was doing an event, and the security runs to get me. Like, yo, you know, you gotta come to the door. I'm like, why? Why is this, like, what's the problem? Like, I'm not security. Like, I'm not searching nobody. I'm not fighting with nobody.
Right.
I'm staying at my table. I'm drinking. Nah, it's very important. I get to the door, and it's Kim Kardashian.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, yo, you know, somebody told me about you, told me to come to your party, da 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 da. And I said, no problem. You know, why did you call me to the door? Like, you could come in, you know, you don't need to speak to the promoter.
Right.
I'm sure they're going to let you in. She was like, nah, but if I come in, I want you to bring this bottle in. And I'm like, we have plenty of bottles. It's like the whole bar is full of bottles. She's like, no. If I come in here, I'm going to get something out of this. And, you know, you're not paying me, but at my table, I want this bottle at my table because I know everybody going to be taking a picture. This bottle is paying me. The company's paying me. So if you want me to come in here, bring this bottle in. I said, where you want me to put it? So at that point, at that event space, that's when I learned that it's bigger than just getting people to come out. You have to do other stuff to make more money, and that's how
business aspect of
it. That's how I got into liquor, and I got into all sneakers and clothing, and I started making all that stuff work for me instead of just having people come out to my party.
That free promotion.
There you go. She started it.
Yeah,
she bought her coin.
So I see that you kind of merge into like the nightlife. How do you feel about all like the day parties and brunch parties and all of that? Like the merge of what's hot now. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the day parties. And I never had a day party, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
That was never my thing. I endorse day parties now, so I make it look like I'm doing it, but I'm not going. I just endorse it. You know, but I've never did a day party before.
Because it's a whole different type of vibe, right?
It's a whole different type of vibe. And when they started the day party thing, I was doing my night parties, but I was on to the next thing. I was on to signing liquor deals, signing sneaker deals, signing clothing line deals. So when they started the day party thing, I was still just all right. Yeah, I was doing my night parties and I was fine. So I needed my sleep.
What about the after work parties? Did you ever participate in any of those?
No, never did an after work party. I mean, I do one now, but it's not really work right now because everybody's home. You know, everybody's home. But I never really got into those early parties because I've always liked to sleep late. Because I didn't want to look like I was 90 years old when I was 30. You know, you try to get up early after you come in at 5 in the morning, try to get up at 8. That never was me. Like, I was never a 9 to 5 kind of worker. Like, I never did that.
You see, for me, it's totally different because about 8 o'clock is nap time. Like, it's over for me by 8 o'clock. So day parties work for me. Like, okay, hold on. This start at 1 and it ends at 5. That means I could be asleep by 8. This is my thing.
Right. Get home by 10, 11. I like to get drunk at that time. I can recover and go to work the next
I think those day parties put you in a whole different atmosphere because you come outside smack and it's bright and you're like, what is going on here?
Right.
Like, how is it so lit?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go to bed. Everybody else trying to
making them phone calls at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, yo, you're smack. Yeah, I just
drunk
left
text niggas. You ain't got no business
now because of COVID. Because they making everybody close at 11. So I'm getting used to those early parties. But those early parties was never me.
You ain't feeling that.
No, I like to sleep late.
So what was your biggest opportunity so far as like being in the industry for over 20 years now?
Yeah, let's say that.
Club, let's say that.
Let's say that. A lot longer than that, but let's just say that. The biggest thing, I had a lot of big
top
moments.
3, you know, like as far as like moments or major moments.
When I signed my deal with Grey Goose.
Okay.
I signed a real big deal with them.
Are you still with them?
Nice.
No.
Okay, because that's the headache serum.
Well, let me tell you a crazy story. And I didn't, and I learned from it. Okay. I learned from it, but so I'm doing the Grey Goose thing, having a great time. And I don't know if you guys know, but when a company like that, they have a lot of backing, a lot of money behind you. And they give you a corporate card. And you have a corporate account. So I was in the corporate world, but nightlife.
Nice.
So I didn't have to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, but I was treated just like any other corporate exec. So we the owner of the Grey Goose goes, I want to meet this guy. His sales are so high because what I was doing was I was going to C's clubs.
There you go. You know you wanted it. You know you wanted it.
I was going to clubs and I was saying, you can't have me unless you buy a certain amount of cases of Grey Goose.
Oh, smart.
So my sales were so high, and the owner was like, "Yo, I want to meet this guy." So he's like, flew me out to Miami, and I didn't want to go by myself, so I took one of my friends, Carly. Shout out to Carly Voice. Took Carly with me, and we met with him, and he's like, "Listen, he had all of these flavors. He had all of these like I don't know, concoctions on the table." And he's like, "Listen, you're like you're an influencer. Like people listen to you. Like put some of those liquids together and tell me what tastes good." And I'm like, I was really a Grand Marnier fan. I wasn't really a Grey Goose fan.
Right.
So Carly was with me. Carly is a Grey Goose guy. So he's like, "Great, this is my life. This is beautiful." So we drinking. And Carly taps me, he goes, let him taste this. And I gave the owner, I said, "Taste this." And he's like, "What did you mix?" I go, "You gotta ask my boy right here." And Carly's like, "Yeah, I mixed this, that. Do you know that flavor today is cherry noir?"
Oh, wow.
I never got paid from it.
Wow.
But that's a Grey Goose story. Right. But anyway, what was the question?
Even coming from Far Rockaway, like I'm born and raised from Edgemere. Like a lot of people, they be like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yes, it's some good people up in there."
It's
spot,
a gem. It's a gem or two.
Little gem too. But just coming from Far Rockaway, like that's really big. Just starting from project houses, and I remember like having a crackhead, go to the party, and it's really like rent parties like back in the day. At Edgemere, we used to have that all the time. But like, how do you feel about guys that's really pushy? Like when like an artist come in and they want to push the girls out the way and.
Well, let me tell you the problem that I had growing up in Far Rockaway after I received so much success. First, Stack passed away. Then after that, Chinks passed away. Mm-hmm. So, and both of them I worked closely with. So that kind of, it kind of scared me. Because people in Far Rockaway, they have imaginations and they think you got more than what you have. So if you're riding around in a nice car, they think you got more money than what you have. Mm-hmm, so they want to rob you. They want to take it now. Or they get jealous or envied. Or you didn't this, that. They make up excuses why to do something bad to you.
Right.
That scared me when it happened to
so
Stack
many stories of that.
and Chinks. So I kind of like, it humbled me and I kind of like went under the radar for a long time. Mm-hmm. I did my events. I made enough money to survive.
Got the fuck out. I
went under the radar. So that's my hardest thing about Far Rockaway. Mm-hmm. People think you got more than what you got, and they're not happy for you at all.
Listen, my father's Aaron Hall. So growing up in Far Rockaway, living in Edgemere, a lot of times like I was just shocked that I didn't get kidnapped, honestly, because I was outside. Like everybody, I was a little bit everywhere, and coming back after living in Virginia for 8 years, I always have those mindsets, like, those thoughts, but, sometimes you got to be prayed up and you got to know, like, listen, even if you giving back really quick, all right, I'm there and I'm in and out. Well, a lot of people mess up at, they get success and then they stay in the hood or they hang around they old blocks where they used to do. But when you're in a different space, you can't really do the things you used to do. So, like, kudos to you for leaving and doing positive things. Like,
well, that's the thing. I never left Far Rockaway.
Okay.
I still live basically in Far Rockaway.
Okay.
I just learned how to deal with them.
Yes.
I learned that I can't drive around in a Porsche in Far Rockaway. Mm-hmm. I can't do that because they think I got more than what I have.
Right. Your name is bigger. I'm not saying personally, but your name is bigger than your pocket.
Exactly.
In their eyes.
And no, right. It is. It is, but I don't want them to be thinking like I got all this kind of money. So you know what? I drive around in a Sentra. What we have? A hoopty, because I don't want people to to be like, oh, he driving around in a Porsche. Yo, he got let's see what he got. Mm-hmm. Nah, I know how to deal with them now. So I still live in Far Rockaway. I was fortunate enough to buy a house in Inwood.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Far Rockaway to me. That's
Right.
close enough.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
It's the suburban
Club,
Rockaway.
I used to be in and out for a while.
club.
Yeah.
That's
There
a
you
real
go.
Far Rockaway presence. We say Inwood is Far Rockaway.
it's close
Club,
enough.
club,
It's
club.
It's close enough.
Don't leave me by myself.
It's close enough.
I'm the
There's
only
no
one that
way
said
I'm a living Redford.
Hey,
for the rest
right
of my
on the
life.
outskirts. It's
Thank
technically
God.
a
But
516.
Inwood is close enough. I can still see my old building from my window.
The bird.
My grandmother came to Edgemere before it was the projects, when it was nothing but Jewish people. Like when they had
They had white people.
yeah, they had white people. That's what
White-
I'm trying to say. When
white
it was number whites, okay, and she was the only little Filipino lady in the now the hood, and she's still there. 92. She refused to leave.
My mother told me that when they first started moving black people to Far Rockaway, they moved them all in the same building in the same area.
That's how we all became cousins.
You go to
Listen.
Edgemere now,
Cousin.
you see Indians, you see a lot of Indians, you see a lot of Hispanics,
You see the
Africans,
Asians, too.
a lot of Asians, a few white people. Okay, just
Those the
walking
Russians.
through the double building, regular. It's just like it's very different. It's definitely different. Walking and coming back. Like sometimes I just walk around just to be like, wow, like it's a different space.
Right. And speaking of the difference, how is it that the pandemic has actually affected, you think, the party scene, your business, and going forward, what you think is going to happen once it is that we're actually allowed to come outside? You think it's going to come right back into the groove or a little middle ground?
Well, that's a great question. People, I don't know, but the pandemic, it helped me. Let me tell you why it helped me. Because I couldn't do events. Now, mind you, that's all I do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I couldn't do events. So it sat me down. And it made me think about all the other stuff I put to the side when I was too busy to do them. And one of those things was getting my car dealership. You know, I'm a licensed used car salesman.
Nice.
So I got my dealership, and I own a bar now. And I did that during the pandemic.
Nice.
And I would have never did that
If it wasn't
If
for
it
the
wasn't.
pandemic.
if it's something didn't sit me down.
Yeah, it had to tell you, sit your ass down and let's go ahead and recalculate,
That's a
rethink.
real hustler. You
what we
gotta
gonna
figure
do.
it out. Okay, what's gonna work for me right now? This is right now. This is not it, but let's see what I can do. So that's
See,
what's
y'all,
up.
there are gyms that come out of Rockaway. I hear a lot of stories. They be talking about how you going to get stuck up. You might. You might get robbed. You might be going to see Shorty and the niggas downstairs in the building. But
Nope.
there's gyms that come out of
Tell
Rockaway,
them
y'all.
about me. I went to Beach Channel and spoke to the kids. I went to Far Rock High School and spoke to the kids. I have 2 college degrees. I didn't even use my degrees yet. I'm very successful. I'm an entrepreneur. I came out of Far Rockaway.
You can do it.
Yes, you can do it.
You can definitely do it. So, let's go to the club, y'all. Come on. We got to drink one more. Come on.
Oh,
Club.
That actually brought us into our nightcap. That's the last that's the last segment of our show is our nightcap. What that basically is we kind of wrap up the episode just giving our pointers or last thoughts on our topic.
Right.
So our topic was you.
Let's do it.
And as far as my nightcap, I'm going to go back to Rockaway has its gems. You know, it's a lot of successful people that are coming out of Rockaway, and it's not always through rap. There's a lot of fashion people. There's a lot of successful women, especially. We have a lot of women that's getting into the health game, mental health. We got writers, producers. There's a lot of people that's coming out of Rockaway. So y'all give us a chance. Like, we shouldn't have to just how a lot of times we have to hide ourselves and not be that black when we walk into certain rooms.
Tear it up. Tear that thing up. I'm here.
Right.
I'm here. Tear it up.
Don't judge us by where we're from. Just give us a chance.
Yes. And for me, being from Far Rockaway, like, I'm doing a lot of positive things, like, in the community as far as, like, donating clothes for 150 women, you know, doing things. I have a ministry. So, like, just knowing before, I used to be scared to even say where I'm from. Because when you meet me off the back, people used to always think, oh, she live in the 60s or, like, you know, Inwood. and stuff like that. And I always tell them, like, no, you can't really judge a book from where it's from. Like, just give us a shot, and you'll see that Far Rockaway is literally one place that people underestimate.
We lit.
Yes, we lit for real.
And for me, it's like, don't let your upbringing, as you said, you had the drug addict parents, don't let it determine what it is that you're going to do. Do whatever it is that you're going to do, and kick the door open. Like us, especially as black people, we be like, yeah, I'm not going to say this, I'm not going to say it. Do it. Every other nationality do it. They don't care about what it is you think about their color or where it is that they from. But as far as you, going forward, what it is that you got going on, what you about to do, you got some virtual parties, you on Zoom, let the people know what's happening.
That's your night chat.
I don't know. I'm old school. Like, you know, the virtual parties, you know, everybody calls me to do the virtual parties. That's not me. I stick to what got me here. To still the late night parties I do. Still the parties I do at home. Now, mind you, everybody called me to go to Atlanta and Miami to all these parties. I did that when I was younger. I don't do that anymore.
Gotcha.
I just stick to what I make money in New York, so I don't need to go out there.
You know your formula. And it works.
I just stick to it.
Right.
Smart.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you came to sip your grandma with the girls.
Yes.
Let us sip, right?
Yes, let us sip.
You got us like a grandma,
Right.
I've never had
Wait,
it.
y'all drank half the bottle.
Hey,
Club. You listening?
section
Club
right
it
now.
up.
It's like
Club
4 of us
section
on
right
one
now.
bottle.
Oh man! Oh man! A few more of that word, I would be drunk.
We did here, chopping it up for real. Before we get out of here, everybody, Chuck, where can everybody find you at on socials?
I'm at Hollywood Chuck on everything. I'm not really on Facebook.
Okay.
But
that's where the aunties are.
You can catch me on Facebook. I'm Hollywood Chuck Management. My assistant runs that. But she'll get the message to me on Facebook, on Instagram at Hollywood Chuck, on Twitter at Hollywood Chuck.
Okay. And you can follow us on Let Us Sip Pod on all social media platforms. But we want to thank y'all for listening, and we will see y'all next week on another episode of
Let Us Sip.
Thank you for listening to Let Us Sip. Please remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. And if you like what you heard, leave us a comment. If you feel like we can do better, leave us a comment too. But be respectful. We read everything and only want to grow. So thanks again for your love and support, and we will see you next week.